Hey, it's Robo here, Roboprinny, and we are starting the raging loop again. It's been a while. We're checking the saved data. We're gonna have a good time. Look at us go, and let's start this. Alright guys, last time we were gonna find out what the original sin was. We had just found out like things are different. I think there's gonna be a feast or something. I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
いい
Um,
え、すべては私たち藤吉のものの最初の罪業によるものです。
original sin.
はい、この村は神の眷属を殺めて栄えた村なのですから。
The story of killing the wolves, huh? I'd like to hear more.
この後おそらく山脇様から、
Yamaaki-san?
はい、山脇様が安水の名代でいらっしゃいますので。
Representative, not a landlord,
ええ、
huh?
安水の土地はすべて村か長者のものです。山脇様がしっかりなさっている方で一番ご年配だから。
I see. So the way it is, huh? Instead of turning bashful, she actually glared at me this time. This was pretty good too. That aside, I now knew how it was. The oldest was the representative, and with that, she was in charge of the feast. By the way, you seem pretty hung up on guests. Is there some sort of local culture related to that?
はい、そもそもかつての藤吉は狩りの安全の祈願のため遠方の狩人を村人はマロードと呼び手厚くもてなしたと言います。
That made sense. If the belief itself was the village main draw, I could understand why this unique religion survived this song. I wanted to get some certain details, but it didn't seem like something I should ask about while I'm alone. So that's how it was. You're nice to me because I'm a guest, huh?
え、いえ、そんなことは。
Or is it because I was there when you got hurt?
それは、はい、感謝しております。でも理由が必要でしょうか。
Oh, not at all. I just felt like there was some reason behind it.
あったら。
I'd be happy, maybe. The adorable woman hung her head, cheeks reddened. I was the only one playing around with her, but that actually made me feel kind of bashful. Perhaps I had to be more serious about her feelings. How would I do that, though? Forget it. It wasn't the time for that. I was given the important role, so I had to find a way to keep the others alive.
そろそろ行きましょうか。
Kori-san's voice prompted everyone else to rise from their seats. Then we wordily began to leave the dining hall. Then there was a click of a switch being turned on, lighting up the bare light bulb above. The lighting was poor, making everyone's illuminated face stand out more. It felt unnatural, like a whole other world.
みんな座りんさった。読み意味の宴を始めましょうね。
And so it began. Urged by Yamiaki-san, Reikeko-san, as though understanding her implications went deeper into the room, and after a bit of messing around and returned to us without tripping. In her hands she had a labelless bottle.
神内様に献上されたおみきです。マロードから順に回し飲みしてください。
Rikako sat down next to Mamiya-san and gave her an aged sake.
これ飲まなきゃダメですか？はい。汚れを遠ざけてくれます。
Mamiya-san didn't reply but still took it. Rikako-san then filled it with sake.
これを全員で飲むの？いくら飲んでいただいても結構です。お酒はたくさんあります。
Hiseko-san glared at the cup, smelled it, and then drank it all. Down. She sure looked like she could hold her liquor.
普通のいいお酒よ。銀醸化がする。
Impressed by her professionalism, I took the cup from her.
春明様は飲めますか？
Just bring it on. Without light-hearted reply, I let her fill the cup, then drink it all. It's actually pretty good. It seemed like a luxury, even if I had no idea how such a poor settlement got their hands on it. It didn't seem like I could ask for more, so I just gave the cup to Meiko, gestured for her to just pretend to drink it. Same for the students. The sake went through several people without anyone
こ
drinking.
こから大人ね。いただきます。
And Chimi emptied it the moment she got it. Reikako, and who'd it be sitting next to her if it wasn't Meiko? Then I took a sip myself, followed by Kaori-san, then until Kiyonosuke, he finally emptied what it was left. Takumi-san drank 2 full cups, saying, "Some fetus, huh? You get to drink sake during the day." Then the elders each emptied a cup. That was everyone, so Reikako-san took the bottle and cup and returned to her place.
一通り回ったか。耐えば。
伝承を知らない方もおられます。すべて説明されるがよろしいかと。
そうですね。それじゃあお話ししましょうね。
Finally,
神内様は山の神。大昔この村ができた時は神内様の一のお守りは狼様じゃった。狼様は他のお守り様、蛇様、猿様、カラス様、雲様らと読み人から人を守ってくれたのよ。
読み人何？
死んだ人、生き返った人よ。
怖い。
大丈夫、私がいるわ。
狼様は今も上富士吉の神内明神に祀られとる。じゃが安水には別の話が伝わっておる。狼様は確かに人を助けたが人を喰らいもした。じゃから人は蛇様、猿様、カラス様、雲様に頼み込んで狼様を騙したんじゃ。
last time Chimi was the one to tell me. Everyone living here already knew it, surely. It was Yasumizu's original sin. And since Kiyonosuke, she, and Reikako-san knew it, the village heads knew it as well. Kami Fujiyoshi people, though, just continued to revere the Okami-sama, the wolves.
人は宴を開いて狼様にたらふく酒を振る舞った。他のお守りもしきりに酒を勧めるものだから 狼様は大いに酔っ払った。やがて狼様が眠ったところを人は寄ってたかって運び、皿長に放り投げて殺してしもうた。それから藤吉の者はますます栄えたが、時折黄泉から狼様が落ちてきて人を食らうようになった。狼様は人に化けておられる。じゃから人は狼様を見つけくくって亡きにせねばならんのよ。しかし一日にくくれるのは一人。それが親内様の決めた掟。じゃからこうして集まって亡きにする一人を決める。夕霧が立つのは狼様のお越しの合図じゃから、みんな支度をする。風呂を浴びて一人一つの家に閉じこもってきちんと寝ることじゃ。それもまた親内様の掟。そうでない者は汚れを受ける。親内様の神罰じゃ。お姉ちゃん、書くのはやめてくれんかね。
Mimi Yan-san was taking notes. She silently put away her notepad and I couldn't read her
わ
expression
か
at
らん
all.
ところは教えてあげるからね。ともかくも夕霧の日、親内様は汚れをお下しになった。そして置き場によもつ狼様の印が描かれておった。
遮ってすみません。置き場とは？
The stones you can find around Yamisu, they seem to have been placed there by people, but no one really knows where they came from. Yasumizu, people believe they should be
か
respected.
つて水場ができる前は岩の上で火を焚いたことから置き場と呼ぶのだと、そんな話もあります。
That seemed like a weird idea to me, but I just kept listening.
安水はね、貧しいところよ。土も悪いし日も当たらん。獅子は多いが取るのはいつも。でも置き場があるからここは特別じゃとあたしらは思ってるのよ。
なるほど。それで印っていうのは？
Those diamonds with the swirls on them, right?
そう、あれが3つ。じゃから狼様は3人おる。
なんでそんなことがわかるんです？日常茶飯事なんですか？ここ
山祭り言うてね、毎年お守りの格好をした身車様方が村中を練り歩く行事があってね、そこで狼様の人数が似たようなやり方で知らされるのよ。
なんで3人なのかしら？
親と子なんじゃと。
I myself had already imagined something like that, and it turned out I was on the mark. It didn't seem all that important, though. After all, the wolves didn't have that manner of blood relationship last time.
とにかくあたしも信じがたいけどね、こうなったからには安水の者は狼様をくくらねばならん。それが安水の者が長者の皆々様によくしていただいている理由、あたしら
Yoshitsugu
の責務じゃからね。
clicked his tongue, and Yasunaga-kun calmed him down. The village heads, kind of to Yasumizu inhabitants, the exact opposite was true. However, she got the story across since no one pointed out any problems. Probably clearly right.
藤吉という村の存続は 休みずに寄るところが大きいのですから。
I also came to understand those words. Yamizu existed to be the first line of defense if the wolves should return. The people here weren't so vulnerable soldiers, though. They were more like sacrifices. In Shinai's faith, Saranaga was the entrance to Yomi, so by letting someone live nearby, they could stop the resurrected wolves Viva through the feast. In Yamaaki-san's story, this duty was something that Kami Fujiyoshi's family heads rewarded in some way. This wasn't the time to focus on the minor inconsistencies, though. This was more important. I had to listen and see how accurate the rules she presented would be. Keeping my mouth shut, I waited until she's gone over everything regarding the rules. Then I considered it all. We had these among us: 3 wolves, a snake, 2 monkeys, a crow, and a spider. The snake could write down the names of a still living person and place it on their pillow before bed to find out what they were. The monkeys, upon retrieving their guardian, would be informed about who the other monkey was. The crow would wake up to find out whether the person lynched the day before was a wolf or a human. The spider could write down the name of a still living person and place it by their pillow before bed to protect them from the wolves. The power of these guardians were given with no regard for the blood of the families they were supposedly protecting. Their powers were to be used to discuss and lynch someone each day. There were 3 wolves, and they would brutalize one of humans every night. The wolves had to purge before they all the humans, and if broke the rules, the god of the mountain would bring forth the corruption, a supernatural death upon you. Once the explanation was over, the room was filled with the sound of discussion, but there was still something I had to confirm. I opened my mouth. Hold on, Teba? There's something I don't understand. But Yasunaga-kun was faster.
なんね
You said that the wolves only kill 1 person per night.
そうよ
But why?
神内様のお膝元じゃよもつ狼様も神内様の言う通りにせんといかん
Why did he give them that role? And why do they obey it?
それは計り知れんね
Another thing, if the wolves go to the spider's target, can they go for anyone else once they realize they failed?
それはできんよ雲の籠が狼を止めればその夜人の夢見は必ず守られるそうじゃ
How do you know that?
それはあたしが大昔にあたしのおばあさんに
You haven't participated in a feast before, have you? His strong tone had made everyone freeze. What's up with you? If there are feasts every time there's a miss, someone here must have been in one, right? As far as I know, we had a miss just 8 years ago.
兄ちゃん、やめてよ。
Haru-chan raised her voice and attracted everyone's attention.
やめてよ。思い出したくない。
But Haru-chan,
やす、わしが後で聞く。あん時にはせがれと嫁が死んどる。春に聞かせんでもええ。
おじいちゃん。
so that's how it was. Did you see the aftermath of the landslide uphill? It's been like that ever since Nosato got to work on the place 8 years ago and it collapsed. It's all coming together, and the landslide and Haru's parents' deaths both been 8 years ago when there was mist.
あたしは 休みずにおらんかったよ。覚えとらんかいね。あんたらがお泊まり学校に行っとる手伝いで上富士吉におった。あたしは今回が初めてよ。あん時に宴があったのかもしらん。でもあたしのおばあさんは宴に出たことがあったんかもしれんね。
I see. Yasunaga-kun backed down, but didn't seem all that convinced. I also had questions how the rules of the feast could be passed down so perfectly, though nothing but word of mouth. After all, rejecting those rules meant death. What if we were gaps in what we'd just been told? Those who never heard of these rules or participated in the feast wouldn't have a clue. From what I knew, Taesan didn't mention 3 important rules just now. The wolves also couldn't kill more than one person. If the spiders successfully stopped the wolves, they couldn't choose other sacrifices for the night. The guardians were written in blood, and you couldn't show yours to anyone. The first 2 were pointed out by Yasunaga-kun, but the last one, the thing I've heard from Konzo, wasn't mentioned yet. I wasn't too confident in the method of combining the roles. If this was the way they had been passed down over the course of Feast's long history, it seemed to me that vital information would have been left out like this, resulting in everyone dying through unintended rule breaking long ago. That would have ended the tradition in the fact that people hadn't met. There might have been other ways to compare information. In particular, they hadn't mentioned anything about the way the Guardians were given, leaving out the part about how they revealed their through blood text seemed particularly risky. After all, it was possible that you could sleep in and someone could come in and see it without realizing it, or you could roll around in a bad way and rub it. Well, if they said it, it was some supernatural blood that didn't fade so easily. I'd have no idea what to make of that. There was also the possibility that you could walk around with the text on your stomach without realizing it was there. It took Konzo pointing it out to me to go back and check it. I have liked to ask more about it, but that was the same as telling the wolves I had a guardian. But it didn't seem like I had any time to think about it. Enough that. We drink, listen to the hag, pick someone to kill, right? And how do we do that, huh? A reasonable question.
昔話が本当なら、この中の何人かがすでに死んでて入れ替わられてるってことなのかな。そんな。
Like, that's true. Takumi-san had no patience for such superstitions. This is all the village head's fault anyways. They just want to have some of us off the mist to dampen our spirits. Mero, what do you think they are? Rotten-brained scumbags who are behind the times. Don't act like you can deny that. But what do you do to a person that way? I don't know.
匠、なんだって関係ねえ。ほっときゃ狼はみんな殺す。狼は宴でくくる。他の手はねえ。
Old man. Saying that at this point was pretty much a admission that he'd been in a feast before. However, his sternness made it hard for anyone to point that out. Having experienced a feast or two before was actually an advantage in this situation in a way. After all, everyone would want to benefit from his knowledge and experience.
カンちゃん、どうやってくくるもんを決めればいいのかね。
Yamaaki's question made everyone look at Konzo's face. You could tell how much they trusted him. Old
お
man.
じいちゃん。
おい、兄ちゃん、夫妻子言うたか。
Me? Yeah.
死んでくれんか。
What? My mind came to a halt for a moment, and I couldn't find how to
上
respond.
松の。若えのにもう一杯ついでやれ。
牧島様。
ええから次へ。
Reikeko urged no further and brought me the cup and the sake.
飲まれない方が。
It's fine, I will. I took the cup and she filled it up. What do you mean? Drink it all down. Then looked over everyone's faces. They lowered their gaze and looked away. Adults, children, the elders, even Jimmy. One besides Konzo looked into my eyes. I could see how it
ま
was.
ず誰か死なねばならん。皆が納得した人一日たりとも無駄にはできん。じゃがまだ誰も怪しくはねえ。一人死ねばわかることがある。
Understood now. He wanted to start off by unmasking the crow. My death at the tree would be a chance for him to show themselves, since they'd known for certain whether I was human or a wolf. Konzo really did know how the feast worked. He understood that victory depends on those guardians. Since I was new here, it was easy to sacrifice. It preserved the group unity and mental health. I could tell that they would tolerate me, the one to hang. However, I couldn't let that slide. My current objective was to survive and escape, not to mention I was the snake. My death would be really bad for the humans. The old man, yet robust man, stood up and spoke
化け
aloud.
物はこん中におる。この場じゃ平気な顔をして夜になりゃ平然。それが読み意味の宴よ。人情じゃ勝てん。
Monsters, old man get into you?
よしつぐお願い。やめて。
You believe in monsters? I don't. There's also the issue of the guy who put nails in the woman's tires. Someone put them there? There hasn't been any construction recently, right? People here barely have money for nails. Gotta be on purpose. Saying the village heads are responsible. Who else? They want to see people, so they drag the outsiders into it. Seems likely. Prosperous. They're too busy for that.
若えのは樋口が差し向けたな。
Now this was bad.
樋口からなんか聞いてねえか。
Takumi-san, Fuji, Shitsugi-kun, and even Maya stared at me.
え、妻子よ。
They now thought I could have been sent by the village heads as an agent of theirs. That was a really good script, especially since I was actually the one who burst those tires.
やめてください。さっきから黙って聞いてれば全部憶測じゃないですか。間違ってたらどうするの？山が全て許すとでも言うんですか？
許されようがなんじゃろうが狼くくって安水を守る。まあ夫妻子のことは深くは聞かん。死者の女も悪いようにはしねえ。じゃが一人死なねば話が進まん。女子供をくくるのは夢見が悪かろう。わしはそれを頼んどるだけよ。
じゃあ私が代わりにくくられる。
Well, that was unexpected. Everyone stared at the stern-faced Chimi.
私はこんな卑怯な方法でできたばかりの隣人を殺そうとしてるこの安水の空気が大嫌いだ。どうしても一人分の死が必要なんなら私でいいでしょ。迷惑いっぱいかけたお返しにご奉仕しちゃうよ。
Chini, what are you saying?
やすくん、私ね、さっき一瞬思っちゃったんだ。それで肝臓じいちゃんが春明さんに水を向けた時、それはマシかもって一瞬でもそう思った。私の中の安水を許せない。だからとりあえずで殺すなら私を殺してよ、肝臓じいちゃん。
ちえねえ、やめようよ。
そうだよ。その身代わりがちえねえじゃなくたってその
He didn't respond. His face was a total blank. No, he actually seemed slightly
芹
vexed.
沢様のおし理由なき死をマロードに求めるなど、間宮様のように疑われても。
Then you do it. You're a freaking family head in a way. Excuse me. I'm a monkey. I might have underestimated the piece of the Yomi purge. I couldn't control it at all. There were too many wills clashing from too many people. Surprised by Yasunaga-kun's words, I fell silent and shot him a sidelong glare.
安永
Once.
あなた
My guardian is the monkey. I don't like it one bit, but the mountain sure works in mysterious ways, huh? You serious? I am. Yoshitsugu Kanzo-san, I do believe that we must eliminate the wolves. But if we hang someone based on what happens outside the feast, we'll have major troubles in the future. There's still other things we can do. I'm a monkey. As such, I want the other monkey to present itself.
待ちなさいな、ヤス君。カゴは大事にせんといかんのじゃないんかね。
No, Taiba. The monkeys are the only ones that should be revealed. You understand, Haru?
ごめん。わかんない。
There are two monkeys, but they don't have any special powers. They're just monkeys. That means they're not much of a menace to the wolves. Revealing them instantly removes two suspicious suspects, making it easier to find the wolves.
そっか。ただの人間で安全。
Now please show yourself. This was a trap. The monkeys knew who the other monkey was. He didn't have to ask them to name themselves. He could have just pointed them out. He also emphasized that being a monkey meant you were no longer a suspect. He wanted to set a trap for any wolves who didn't have a good grasp of the situation. If a wolf tried to pretend to be a monkey, Yasunaga-kun and the other monkey would point it out, leading to the faker being hanged. Even if it didn't work, like he said, exposing the monkey was a good way to get rid of two suspects. Everyone who knew how the monkey worked would understand this, but as things were, it was unlikely that a wolf would fall for it. I was a simple creative idea with no risks involved. Now that he came out as a monkey, he was confirmed to be human. That made me more relieved than anyone else here. This meant he, the one who had a flawless victory as a wolf last loop, wouldn't be an enemy this time. I already knew that Guardian assignments were completely different than last time, but I was still a nice thought. However, the idea was quickly flipped around.
ヤス、勝手な真似してんじゃねえ。
Absurd.
勝手に動くな。
Yasunaga-kun, first step, went over the heads of most of the people present, and Kanzo had used that against him. He had the marking of a leader, and by scolding Yasunaga-kun for his hastiness, he made it clear what kind of chain of command was here. As a result, Kanzo controlled the situation was stronger than before. That also meant that Yasunaga-kun plan to help me was negated, leaving me in the same danger as before. I had to act now. Excuse me, can I finally talk? I went and asked Kanzo-san. Talking out of turn here would just make me look like the bad guy. I don't want to die yet. It's not like my life's precious to me. I can be more useful to you alive than dead. Makishima-san, this morning you told me that guardians appear on the stomachs. Does everyone else know this? Watch everyone's reactions. They just made a little bit of noise.
言うてなかったね。カゴの印は体に出るって言われてるのよ。安水のもんなら今日の朝に体を見たとは思うがね。もしし
We have to hide it.
いいや。消してしもうていいのよ。
I see. So outsiders like Haisako-san and Meiko-chan might have not known about this.
メイコには言って聞かせてありますので。
Okay, then what about you?
見てないわ。何なのそれ。
So it is possible that Mei-Miya-san has a guardian but doesn't know it. And by the way, can we pause the
く
feast?
くるもんを決めるまでは出られん。
I see. So we'll have to check if she has a guardian before tomorrow's feast, and should be left alive until then, right? If I had a guardian, you couldn't hang me, but if I didn't, you could. That's why you asked me that question this morning, right?
腹見たか
Huh?
使いの加護は腹に出る
And since you apparently concluded that I didn't have a guardian, you decided to hang me, right? Surprisingly, Konzo grinned.
ようしたと頭が回るな兄ちゃん
肝臓じいちゃんひどすぎない？
It's fine, Chimi. I understand my position and knew this was how it would go. As a human, I didn't plan to lie to survive, but I want just one more day. I'll use it to think of ways to help the humans win and find useful information. I'll present it to you tomorrow. If it's no good, you can hang me then. I didn't mention that I had a guardian, or whether the info I would present was based around a guardian's powers or simple strategy, as a weasel wording like mad. However, it was important to express some sort of self-sacrificial spirit in this situation. The effect was the same as Chimi did. Not everyone here agreed that someone should die for the others, but this was a situation where everyone's lives were in danger, and here I was showing acceptance of my position. One here could tell it wasn't something a wolf would do. The wolves were more likely to hide among the silent ones, not the ones who told them others to kill them. If everyone agrees with his words, the one we should hang should be anyone besides the monkey, Konzo-san, I, Buchisa-san, and Mimaya-san. No one objected.
ならそうせ
I was in for a hell of a time tomorrow's feast. However, the day I brought should have been enough to open up a path for me. Who do we go for then? Why not just take out the village heads? Yoshitsugu? Shut up. Takumi, you don't like them? Neither do you. If you hang someone because you don't like them, you're the same as them. Yoshitsugu complained a bit, but then fell silent. He probably understood his point. I have a suggestion.
なんじゃ
This is getting us anywhere. We should choose someone by popular vote, don't you agree? That's insane. I ain't choosing like that. It's not insane. Do you have any other way to get consensus of so many people? We can talk it out and then decide.
気持ちはわかるけど。
でもそんな多数決で簡単に。
兄ちゃんどう思うの？
I agree with Nosato.
安くもかよ。
それで
Everyone was stunned that they accepted Kiyonosuke's proposal.
上松の各門ある
あります。確か。
But eventually everyone agreed to it. They must have understood that this was how it would go. Sounds complicated.
私も奉納の品を本当に使うことがあるとは存じ、身車だけが知る何かがあるのかもしれません。
You lion, you're the head of the Asamatsus.
よしを各邪魔をすな
What, you wanna go? Yoshi, cool off. You too, Takumi? Chicken. Old man, I can't say I don't understand him. Mimiya has a point. This means that the heads just acted nice and contributed the stuff, knowing this would happen to us. Matsu, you sure you don't know anything? You can just say it all makes sense then.
私はただ予感がしただけです。神様のよみがえりが近いと。
Sudden loud noises. They were caused by Chimi and Harusan.
だっていやでもやっぱり神様は。
What?
Haru!
The sudden burst of happenings was too much for me to keep up with it. Haru suddenly stared, laughing out loud. Kanzo's face paled right before he ran over to her. Everyone else just stared at them, dumbfounded. Haru ni, again?
治った
Weren't
は
you
るちゃん
cured?
しっかり
ドカンかチカモチ
Out of the way.
くそ
Chikama Mochi? Crap, Nosato, you know anything? See, didn't I tell you before that mental illness cannot be treated in a place like this?
私が
孫に触るな
Don't touch my granddaughter. Mincing and pushing everyone away, Kanzo embraced Haru-chan tight.
落ち着け落ち着けわしはここにおる
Galva's sort of like a keyword. No idea why, but last time it had a profound effect on Chimi. It worked on Haru-chan too.
何を聞いた？
It actually happened before. Was it different from Okami-sama and Shima-sama? Okami Wolf. Come to think of it, in addition to wolf, Okami could also mean great god. Was that significant?
狼が
Not now, you old fart.
匠さん乱暴はやめて
ナムシ内大権現
I offer homage to Shinai, the Almighty, so peace you may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to the Shinai, the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Man, things were getting out of hand. Still, Haru eventually calmed down and, still delirious, began talking normally.
私何？
おとなしゅうしとけ
おじいちゃん。
By the way, Chimi too had long since recovered, and she was now acting like nothing had happened. Why were they so ready to accept the feast itself when they freaked out like normal people over their own family full of villagers acting so strange, weird? I could understand being scared of monsters, and curses too for that matter, but they also had the insanity to hang their own mother and accept being hanged by the ones they loved. It was something straight out of hell. Just how many times would I have to see this kind of thing before I understood it all?
書き終えております
もう少ししたら再開する
The climax was drawing near. Rikako-san had written a list of all people participating in the feast. The penmanship was nice and the order was proper. It felt like a
神座の門
petition.
から順に票を取る植松のは誰が誰に入れたか記せ千恵美安永植松のがちゃんと書くか見張れ
わかった。
Okay.
間宮様と房石様は投票しない
わしはそうするが他の門は思うようにせ
That sounds fair to me. We should think about what they said and decide whether we agree by ourselves. That's democracy.
はるちゃんのじっちゃんの金魚の糞になったのか
I'm simply saying what I think is true. Let us begin.
今から。
1. What if several people get the same amount of votes?
それらを除いた他の門で投票する
Well, the suspects who go up to the next round would lose their right to vote, huh? That was something. But if that's how it worked, then what if there's a complete split on the second vote?
それが皆の意なら誰もくくられん
Well, that was interesting. They'd go for a final vote by limiting the suspects, giving the voting right only to the rest. If there were several in the limited group who received majority votes too, they could vote again. But if there was a complete perfect split among them, they couldn't cut the numbers down again, nor return back to square one, making it impossible to continue the voting. This was actually quite a delicate situation. The one in the lead were Kiyonosuke, Yoshitsugu, Rikako, and me, and with Mako behind us, just one vote. Normally, thinking I could vote for one of the other three to make sure I survived. Then, even if Mimaya picked me, I wouldn't die right away. It'd only be a final vote, which was dangerous in its own right. However, I didn't feel like voting for Yoshitsugu. His votes were mainly just a punishment for being a brat, so actually killing him would shock everyone's presence. There was also Kori-san, who would most likely make a mess of the whole feast again later on. I wanted to avoid that. Then was I supposed to vote for Kiyonosuke or Rikako? The former seemed like the better choice. But he voted for me, and he probably preferred me to die than Rikako. However, he didn't feel like a wolf to me. Could I really kill him off just because the village heads like him were so resented here? What will you do, Mimaya?
てどうするつもり？
Honestly, I feel like the very act of voting is risky right now, so I want your opinion.
私は殺人を防ぐわ。可能ならね。
Did she also see it? Did she notice the unlikely but possible way of preventing everyone's lynching? That helps the wolves, you know.
そんなの知ったことじゃない。ここは日本よ。法治国家よ。あなた方がこうやって犯罪行為を容認するつもりなら、私は自分の良識に従ってそれを止めるわよ。
Her words were just too reasonable. Honestly, I feel like a number of you here are voting to make a certain something happen. I mean, you wouldn't normally get votes spread out so evenly. Would a death in a situation like that really be a vote by conscience? Yeah, I didn't think I'd get a response. I had to think this through. In most situations, hanging someone was the way to make progress. However, I still had another option, the snake's power. If I didn't use it at least once, there'd be no point in me having it. First and foremost, I had to make it through this day. However, this was a situation without any clear enemies. If we picked someone, wouldn't it be bad for us in the long run? I couldn't help questioning that course of action. There was no point in lying to myself. Honestly, I just wanted to exploit this loophole in the
悩
rules.
むならば、名子ではなく、私を。
Rikako went and emphasized on that. She really didn't have to worry though. Mako wouldn't die no matter what happened. Even if the remaining two votes went to her, she'd just become another option in the final vote. And the candidates would either be me or one of the village heads. Rikako-san would be a good dumping ground for votes. After all, she voted for herself and suggested that others do the same. She was by far the closest one to death. What she did was pretty much suicide. Did she actually have tendencies or something? She did seem a bit dim on certain ways, but not completely simple or idiotic.
悩むならば、名子ではなく、私を。
Why the emphasize and why then? Oh, yeah, I guess I couldn't. After all, that left me with only one answer. I vote for Mako. Mimaya voted for her too, meaning we had 5 people with 3 votes on them. We would then start a final vote centered around them. There were 15 people around here. According to the rules, Konzo described the 5 candidates would lose their vote, so there'd only be 10 get a vote. That made for a special situation here. It was key to create a very unlikely situation where no one died. By the time my turn came, there were 4 people with 3 votes. If Mimaya-san gave the vote off to someone else, the final vote would only have 4 options left and 11 voters. There was no way to divide them equally. Someone would have more votes, and we'd certainly have a hanging in our hands. It'd be fine if the split turning out to be something like 2-3-3, resulting in a final vote, assuming the one who got the 2 got his or her vote back. But if it was something like 1-3-4-4, those who got 4s would be voted again. You'd either have 13 or 11 voters, an odd number regardless. However, there were 5 suspects and 10 voters now. If the votes were split evenly at 2-2-2-2-2, the voting would be cancelled and no one would be lynched today. Miya-san had realized that too. That was why she hadn't estimated the vote for Mako. That left us with another problem though. After all, the sacrifice was as good as described.
前と同じもんに投票するんでええか。
Crap, Konzo was going for it.
それでも
待って、ちゃんと票を取り直して。
Jimmy realized it and acted on. Yes, of course, otherwise Rikako, please show me the results.
はい。もちろん。
Exactly, he realized it too, and looking at the results just confirmed it. Voters, previous vote. Exactly as things were, Yoshitsugu and Mako would have 2 votes, and Rikako would have 1, and Kiyosuke would come out with 3. Of course, there would be any problems if the results had
そ
changed,
の
but
必要あんのか。
当然でしょ。肝臓じいちゃん、何のために決戦と。
ち、てめえ、数に合わせて変えるような気で最初の票入れやがったか。
Jimmy fell silent, and then she fell no rebuttal. The purpose of the final vote was to cut off the minority, those who had the votes, and then let the majority votes do the talking. That was why it was impossible to select anyone when the votes were split perfectly and there were no minorities or majorities. However, here in Yasumitsu, where the suspects lost the right to vote, things were a bit different. By simply removing the right to vote, you already had a difference in votes, so it wasn't necessarily to vote again, as the minority that should have done that didn't exist. The 10 who still vote could vote for the same people, so why wouldn't they?
人のために選んでおらんのか、てめえらは。
Those words rung powerfully in the ears of Yasumatsu's inhabitants. People had to put their lives on the line for the human sake. This isolated society considered that's the right thing to do, and voting again was a sin. Who would insist on committing that sin? Especially among the 3 who voted for Kiyonosuke or Nasato. Which one of them could change their mind and vote for Rikako? There were actually 2 ways left. Would Mochi change his mind or not?
まあそうだな。こんなんめったにないだろうしな。よし、りっちゃんに変えるぞ。
近持ち。
Old man stopped. Konzo Makishima stood up and clenched his fist, but Takumi-san went after him just in time to stop him. That's just how Mochi is, you know that.
それで狼を利するなら、人の裏切り。
I know that. But you're feeling it too, right? Come on. Everyone here was gloomy, tired. They wanted to end this and leave it as soon as possible. Sorry, it's just that none of us are prepared for this as you are.
私はじゃが仕方がないわよ。みんなで決めた方法でくくる。
わかっとる。後悔しても知らんぞ、てめえら。
Feeling slightly guilty, everyone silently listened to Konzo's words. The first day's feast had ended, and I actually contributed to the group not killing anyone, something I was completely against last time. Konzo-san left the hall in a deafening silence. After he was gone, everyone else slowly stood up and left. They all wore... Fusashi, I wanted to talk to you later. Alright. Hearing that as I left was actually kind of scary.
ちょっと。
Oh? and we'll find out what happens next time. He's gonna talk to me, and it's gonna be good time or bad time. We don't know. Thanks for watching.